There you go.
If you drank a 6% beer and then couldn't drive somewhere, I'd be like, that's not good.
Well, I slam it.
Yeah, I guess if you butt chug a 6% beer, you shouldn't drive.
What if it?
What if it what?
I wouldn't do that though. I don't have a cone for that.
You don't have the what for that?
A cone. Wouldn't you have
A
cone?
cone. Like a funnel.
What?
Like a funnel?
How would you?
How is a cone gonna?
I don't have the cone for it.
Well, like
You can't drink and drive because you don't have the cone for it.
no, he said butt chugging.
Oh,
butt chugging. Yeah, we're talking about butt chugging specifically because I'm saying if he couldn't drive after drinking 6% beer, I think you should go to the doctor because your liver's not working well.
I'm not gonna drive.
No, you're not going to drive.
I'm gonna drive. Not making me drive.
I made a note for the episodes, and I called the note and said the wrong.
wrong.
Damn bitch, show me your wrong. Oh, we haven't recorded in a hot minute. We're still gonna meet quota for our at least 12 episodes a year, but we need to return at some point to our 24 episodes in 1 year glory.
What?
Can you butt chug without a funnel?
Oh my fucking
yes!
yeah!
How? Because my ass cheeks are too big.
If you your ass cheeks are too big,
it would totally not work.
Were you about to stand up and demonstrate?
No. He was about to show us.
It's not
I was
gonna
really
work for
worried.
me.
If you jammed that, what is this? If you jammed this 291 American whiskey, hand distilled and bottled.
Okay, so it has to have there is something required.
Probably.
You can't be a free
unless
citizen.
you were just like your hole was winking and you were like doing like a fucking yoga pose and you just were able to pour the beer into your butt.
It wouldn't work. It would stop.
Yeah,
I go,
for
whoop.
most people it would. That's why you need an object to force the beer in there.
It's tight.
No, yeah,
It's tight.
If you're a good enough master, you could do it.
If you're a good enough master.
With just a regular one?
You know, after 10,000 hours, you can totally without a funnel.
If you have a harsh BDSM master, you could butt chug a fucking can of beer.
So you're required to have something that works.
You keep dragging us back to this.
All right.
And I'm trying
Go
to
ahead,
move
do your
on.
sponsors.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should, shouldn't I? There's no noise.
All right.
That didn't work.
Give up.
Do it again.
All right.
Just get it right.
No, fix it.
Get
and
it
do
right.
It again.
Fix it.
That is-
Louder.
All right.
Louder. Oh, okay. Hey, Ben.
Oh, you came
Hello.
back.
This
We're
episode
about to go get
is...
food.
We are.
We're about to go get food.
We are going to go get
You
food.
wanted to start it.
That was going to be a surprise. Why did you spoil it?
That's a surprise?
Yeah, it was going to be I believe the term you used was the comedy of stopping.
Yeah.
No. Wouldn't know that. I'm pretty serious.
Well, this episode is brought to you by viewers like you. Just kidding. We haven't received a donation in 6 months. You should pay us money for the privilege of asking a question or making a comment that will appear on the podcast. Buy my stuff. Bylecosmo.com. BYLECOSMO.com.
Please send money. We're going under.
To give us the money, you got to go to coffee.com/wrongroom, ko-fi.com/wrongroom. That's where you give us all money. And then eventually on Bile Cosmo, I am making a retro clone of the original D&D. So that'll be my next big project. That'll be out eventually. And my vampire parlor game thing, I'm redoing that. So those will be out eventually.
Do you think a problem with the raising money is that when people type in coffee, it first brings up a picture of coffee, and then they just go, "Oh, maybe I'll just go get some coffee," and they use the money that they would send us.
I don't want their
to
money.
Buy an actual coffee instead.
I don't want that money. If I just gave them explicit instruction on how to give us money, they Google a picture of a coffee and go, "Huh? What?" Ooh. I don't want them getting whatever brain sickness they have on the money that they then send to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's safe.
Mm-hmm. That was not. You were not successful in masking that.
You just like made it an echo.
Oh,
I'm listening.
I got that in stereo.
When I get active listening, my brain goes, so I have to get it
out. What?
actively listening.
Did you need to plug anything? Or not yet, I guess.
No.
But soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big things happening.
Once you guys have
Soon.
your EP. Once you guys publish your EP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or singles. But your EP.
I don't know. Check out So Help You God on Facebook.
Oh!
You edit these.
What?
I don't even edit them.
Yeah, I'm. Well, we're not going to say anything bad that I have to. I have one more that I still have to edit before this one, and now after recording this one, I'll really have to edit it. But that's the one I really got to cut stuff out of. So,
Wow.
Yeah,
I have to do like invasive surgery.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to plug? Do you do anything?
120 volt.
What?
Plug it in. Plug it
Plug it in. Plug it in.
Yeah, plug it in.
You plug.
you
plug it in.
Oh, like what would I plug?
Do you have anything to plug?
I don't do anything online.
That's what I just said.
I'm on my own. I do things.
Man, it is fucking hot.
Is it?
It's hot
I
today.
feel good.
I'm
Yeah.
like I think the heat I had to actually go on site for work today too. So I think the heat cooked me. I had to leave my air conditioned paradise, my
For your air conditioned car.
my mind palace manifest. Yeah, to my air conditioned car,
to
my air conditioned office.
the unair conditioning distance between the car and the office.
Yeah,
but
that was enough to kill me.
Yeah. That,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how you guys do
that,
it.
that like 140
You guys?
feet.
Yeah.
140.
It's a lot longer than that, but it's still I am like kind of speaking to but you do a lot more of that. I don't know how you do it. Oh, the vigor. The
I just
vigor and the
forget.
grit.
You just forget.
You forget?
Yeah, you get up there and you're like, it's hot. You're like, okay,
I remember
how much I could do about it?
I remember when I worked that real shit job at a bank, and afterwards I realized I was like, yeah, this job's actually pretty okay. And afterwards I realized, no, it was just pure like survival instinct. It was actually one of the most stressful things I've ever done in my entire life.
Really?
That was bad.
Hmm.
Yeah. Busiest
Yeah.
Wells Fargo in the state.
Oh, right.
It was
right.
horrible.
Yeah.
Chronically understaffed, getting screamed at all the time, and I'm just like, this is fine. So that's probably what you do. You've gaslit yourself into thinking you're okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
You've gaslit girl bossed yourself.
I guess a crew boss.
I actually recommend that if anybody if anybody listening, this is official mental health advice, by the way. It just pretend you're okay. You know, pretend everything's okay, and I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah. Don't do anything about your present circumstance.
No,
No.
every once in a while,
Definitely don't do anything.
Don't change
every once in a
anything.
while, a dark shadow will come over you, and then you'll need to like scream and cry in a bathroom.
Yeah.
It'll pass.
Yeah.
You go right back to blissful forgetting.
Yeah.
Like Matt when he goes to work every day.
Damn.
I almost
Damn.
joked.
Eviscerated.
I don't fucking know, man. My job can end up. We might lose like half my team, so I might end up being in torture hell.
Oh, so go kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
We started playing 4th edition. We've been talking about it for literally 10 episodes, like
Yeah.
or a zillion of them.
Since the beginning. You guys
Yeah.
are like 4th edition.
We're 2 sessions in. How we feeling so far?
Yeah.
What
How do you feel?
What did you experience that you missed the most? That you experienced and you're like, oh yeah.
Casey's just building characters the whole time.
Yeah. The character builder.
Casey's character building. I thought that you were bad when not bad as in bad at it. I mean bad as in a shameless power gamer, who excuses your antisocial power gaming behavior with cool ass character concepts and stories.
Wow.
There's a compliment somewhere. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep
no,
going.
this is a compliment
We'll get to
free
it.
episode.
Oh.
No.
Oh, this is the roast? I didn't know it was the roast.
Yeah, none of you said anything about me yet. I'm still waiting. I'm just hitting home runs, and you guys are just no. I'm kidding. No, when we played Pathfinder, it was really intense. You had really really crazy builds and really cool characters. In 4th edition, I expected that to be not as good, not because of your abilities, but because the system is more restricted.
Yeah.
But it's crazier.
Yeah, well, because what you're describing is absolutely true. It's way more difficult, but that's just trapping the rat in a smaller, tighter maze. I just got to rip down the walls and find.
You want that fucking cheese.
Yeah, I get the cheese.
Mhm.
You don't stop me.
Yeah, there is no stopping you. And I mean, yeah, I like all your the character concepts you've just been, because this is also the first time when we played like 3rd edition or 5th edition. You're like, yeah, check out this cool character. He's super cool. But like we're playing 4th edition and it's like not our combat round. You look at me and it's like, anyway, here's another character I came up with. Like I've never experienced that where you're like, dude, I've got 6 in the chamber, and it makes it so easy.
Yeah,
Because there's no math. You just go beep boop beep beep boop. Well, I don't use the builder. I use paper, but it's like the way the options are presented in the books. You're literally like, and I will take that, please, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean
that, thank you.
Things are. There's a lot of synergy between stuff, but it's not extremely apparent. But it also doesn't need to be apparent because the streamlined options of how everything's built is just so good anyway.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like they're trying to simulate the customizability of 3rd edition. Like, let me put it this way: 3rd edition is great, but it feels like they kind of threw it all together, and then you kind of make sense of the mess. The way they designed 4th edition, they streamlined the process so it's easier to do the things you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Probably. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, apparently not. I don't think he...
Yeah.
What's he talking about?
I don't know.
Is time of 4th?
How about you? What's your favorite thing about 4th edition?
Nothing
Now
yet.
we're back into it. Nothing.
Nothing yet.
Okay,
Nothing
wow.
yet.
All right. Damn. What?
Savage.
Elaborate, please.
I already said when this started it was going to be a big hullabaloo, and you guys say that's the coolest thing ever. But I do the same thing. I attack, and I wait my turn. And I attack, and I wait my turn.
Well, that's the character you chose to play.
I do like, plus doing ultra power attack, and just killing anything in front of me. That is fun. I'm like, slam.
I will say, slam.
It's a slam. I'm like,
Just
do
slam.
I hit them or do I not? Do I kill them or do I not?
I will say, I think it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that you're like, same thing. I hit and wait my turn.
Yep.
But because you made a character that is very good at hit and wait my turn. So I feel like it's more on you
My
than it
turns
is
are
actually
like
on the
30
game.
seconds. I'm like,
And you're putting
what's
out-
in front of me? And I'm like,
And you're putting out shit that like that Slayer in fucking Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdoms is it came out late in the cycle and I think it's pretty well balanced, but it seems kind of fucking broken when you're out there
I'm
like
slaying.
nuking people.
Slaying.
Yeah.
That's
I
all.
have a plus 10 to hit.
It is a
after fixing
striker,
it.
right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the Knight is the defender one.
Yep. But
Okay.
then there's also what is it? There's another one that is actually striker and defender.
I mean, they can all share roles.
Is it Berserker as its own class? I think so.
That sounds really familiar. It's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
it's like the barbarian.
Because
variant
basically
they
what
had.
allows you to do, you get a mark aura, you get a
Uh-huh.
guard aura, and then you can toggle that off to go into damage mode.
Yeah. It's like kind of what they was. That was a Essentials one too, right?
Mhm.
Because kind of what they did is they had each they didn't it didn't last long enough for them to actually make full use of this, but they pretended each class was a category. So you didn't play a fighter, you played either a slayer or whatever. I think Berserker is literally the only
I'm the
class for the barbarian category before they stopped doing Essentials.
I'm just the class.
No, the Scald, I think.
Yeah, Scald is for Bard.
it's
is it for Bard?
It's very
Yep.
short. It's
Is
just-
it for Bard?
Mhm.
I'm gonna be playing that in the full game because right now we're just
Yeah.
doing the
Oh, really?
right now we're just doing the starter kit stuff.
Yeah, and
Just running through it to get our feet back under us.
yeah. That's why I built such a busted character. I tried to.
Well, not our feet, our squares back under us.
Because I want to be like, this is what 4th edition can do.
Yeah.
And then I got crit 3 times in a row, and I was like,
You got
this is
crit-
a bad message to send.
You got crit.
I'm like, I don't think people are getting the message.
We just started playing 4th edition again. We were playing what was absolutely supposed to be an easy encounter, and they fucking curb stomped you.
Yeah, I didn't go down, but
You didn't go down, but it was funny.
there's a lot of crits.
And I know Ben has all the books, which is you just pass one off to Matt right now, presumably to school us. Dungeon Master's
He's just
Guide
telling
to.
me what I am, but I'm all of them. I'm all of them.
You're all of them.
He said he literally.
Oh,
there's
did he
one-
point to one of the player
No,
types?
It's called
dude,
the
you're-
Slayer. It's called the Slayer.
You're the Slayer?
He's
That's one of the player types.
That's
one of the
he's
problem
not a
player
Slayer.
types.
No, his problem type is Instigator.
yeah, it's right next to the Slayer. See, Instigator.
Yeah.
But I'm all of them. I can't be all of them. I just
You're
do
all
whatever.
of them? Well, you're
Yeah.
definitely one of them.
The Instigator at the table can be allied to.
You're
It's
not
like
the
a
Slayer.
horoscope. You can't be multiple
You're
of
the
them.
Instigator. You don't care that you can kill stuff in the game. You care that they're alive and they interact the same way you can, and so that you can make them do things that they otherwise shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all these categories. There's also the Watcher, but I can do that and then be.
I
the
have
Instigator.
6 new alerts on coffee.
Whoa.
The fuck?
6.
We haven't posted this yet.
Oh well,
I didn't.
There's someone else.
Also, I didn't expect
Around.
my incredibly charismatic way I asked for money to work.
It's not like
Worked
that
in
is.
ether. Oh God, it's gonna. Coffee has like email 2FA. It's gonna take a
So
second.
you can read.
Well, what I was gonna. Jesus. What I was gonna.
You can look at it.
What I was gonna say that feeds
All right.
directly off of Matt's point is I am really happy to be back in the structure of the game. I think because every game ebbs and flows. When 5th edition ebbs, I hate it because it's like the narrative slowing down. It's kind of like, what are you guys doing? It's like, I don't know. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to do this. And it's like, okay. But 4th edition is so structured
Yeah.
that it's like when it ebbs, like when we played last night, it ebbed towards the end because it was a long combat encounter, but I didn't mind it. That
No.
used to be, back in the day, I remember that being the worst thing ever when a combat went on too long or it was whatever. And now I'm like, this is great because it's like I can still, it's like a higher floor, because the
Yeah.
games go so structured, you can't actually fall through the gaps in the net like you can in like something like 5th edition.
I will hit you with a net build and you will fall through the gaps. Don't try me.
You just validate what I said instead of making a pun out of it that completely takes all the wind out of what I was saying.
Also, if you make a net build, wouldn't you want them to be not through the cracks?
It
See, the net build that
depends.
doesn't work.
It depends. It's a horrible
You
net.
just said a net you throw at someone and they go through it.
That's a horrible net.
You just described a completely ineffectual net build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm making
I
net build
described.
doesn't work. So good on you, I guess.
Hey, speaking of how funny stopping in the middle of a podcast is,
The food's ready.
hit it. Hit the button. You're supposed to hit the button when I said that. Hit the button. Hit the button.
Hitting them
Hit
all.
the button.
Hitting them all.
Hit the button. Huh?
And we're back.
What'd you say?
So let the crowd die.
Oh, let the crowd die. I see.
Keep going.
Yeah, Dark Tower RPG. I don't know how good it is,
Huh.
but it's based off of mazes, which is very okay to not very good. So
Okay.
I don't know. It's crazy. We're just having this vibrant conversation, and I try to continue, and you're like, "Yeah, okay,
We're
whatever, that's
done.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, whatever."
Well done.
Yeah.
So Maze, what other
It's-
type of games have they done? Is it just Maze and then Dark Tower?
So I
or-
forget what they call the system something, and the first game they made was Mazes, which was the first game to use that system, and then Return to the Dark Tower. They got commissioned to do Return to the Dark Tower for the new Dark Tower game, and that was the second iteration of that system. And from what I understand about that system, and from playing Dark Tower the one time with y'all, which is a fucking tight ass game.
Yeah.
I think the mechanics, it was a good mechanical fit. I just think overall the game is kind of underwhelming. And it's a new SR game. It tries to maintain an old school feel with like new school sensibilities, but like I said, it just kind of ends up being a dumber Savage Worlds, which has its applications, but I think those applications are a lot narrower than they might think, which I think is evidenced by the fact for Mazes, they had a really big blowout Kickstarter, and then I haven't heard a fucking word about the system since.
That's
so,
funny.
Huh.
I know that Root has one too. I saw the game store.
Yeah, it's powered by the Apocalypse, which fucking blows.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
wondering. I was just like, why does freaking Root have one?
Anything once
Slightly have people.
anything Magpie Games like gets a hold of, they just turn it into powered by the Apocalypse Drek, and it's so sad. Every time they did the Avatar: The Last Airbender RPG too.
How would you?
So I was
God.
like, oh wow, they're actually going to do that. That's so interesting. Magpie Games. Ah,
How is it even?
I don't
Do you
fucking know.
Do you have an even bending, or is it just like everything's just like
You have
Do you
Well,
fire
because-
you
things?
have what, like Power to the Apocalypse? You just have like a power at water bending,
It's
and then
just-
you just
well,
depending
you
on
just-
your role.
It's just a bunch of 2d6 rolls with no real stakes, and you can't actually end up losing except for like your narrative getting sad. The aforementioned now Sock is crying.
you can't get the narrative sad. That's bad.
That's yeah,
Everyone must be happy all the time. That's the point of playing D&D.
correct. That's what I understand from everyone who plays Power by the Apocalypse and likes it.
Yeah.
They're like, but a game can't be sad. Can't play evil characters. They're bad guys.
If game like real life, I think about real life. What's the point of playing game?
Yeah, no, exactly. And they're the types of people that, work part-time at like McDonald's and are like, this is it. It's this and Magpie Games. And that's it.
Games.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone who's played Power Apocalypse except for fifth stuff.
good. Well,
I feel like
less
if you get to
good,
like
but-
even Power Apocalypse, you're probably playing other games. If you even get to that
Apocalypse.
point.
Bob Apocalypse.
I mean, if you play anything against away from fifth, you're probably trying other stuff.
That
by
is
the nature
true.
of that.
If somebody does play like Blades in the Dark or Powered by the Apocalypse, it
They're probably
shows that
trying
they've
other
experimented with other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the people who settle on those things, because usually what happens is, they're story games and they're light story games, and light story games attract people who are like, wouldn't it be great if we could just ignore all the rules and like win all the time and not really play a game?
Monopoly.
So the people who stay with shit like that, it's like, all right,
Mm.
whatever, you're lost. It's fine.
You're lost. But I just think that kind of that type of person.
Let
It's
me put
probable.
it this way. Blades in the Dark, Critical Role's new shitty games are both based on Blades in the Dark, which in and of itself is based on Power of the Apocalypse.
Is the
you
hope
do the
system
math.
based on that? The hope and fear system?
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh, for Fate?
What?
Fate's different, isn't it?
Fate's different.
Yeah.
No, I just know that the new system of Critical Role is like hope and fate and fear.
I mean,
I don't know.
we
They have
felt
two.
we felt like Burning Wheel is hard to crack. I feel like Fate, dude. I'm like, what the hell?
Fate.
How do you-
I feel like maybe now I could run. I feel like when you get to a point that you could actually run a solid Fate game, you no longer want to. I think mainly because it fills the niche that Savage Worlds does, but is even more generic.
Yeah.
And usually after you've like played a couple generic games and kind of found your like where you kind of vibe, you just want to pick games that best fit that.
I like
you know.
narrow, the games that like narrowly fit what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then they feel more vibrant.
I agree.
Like Mutants and Mastermind was like literally tried to be everything, and it didn't work
yeah.
Yeah.
at all. Could
Yeah.
not make that work.
A game should be as narrow as humanly possible to provide the exact
the
experience.
Yeah. What do you want to do in the game? This. Okay. How do you focus into that so it feels like it?
It's also why how you play a game matters. Like again, I've been doing a bunch of like original D&D research and stuff, and that facilitated a very specific play style. And if you just try and play old school D&D to tell the types of stories and do the things you would do with modern day D&D,
It doesn't work.
just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It's a completely it's why those editions of D&D, they are different games. They might have the same name on it, but they're so totally different, and you need to actually look at what is this game best at doing, and do I want to do it? And if the answer is yes, then cool. And the answer is no, then go fucking play a different game.
If the answer is Star Trek, then it's Star Trek.
That worked on. I mean, it is funny because it's like, in a more modern storytelling, like said Story Light, you would walk up and you're like, "Hey, I want to tell the story," and you're like, "Okay, well, I don't think I can get to that mountain. That seems pretty dangerous." And OSR, you're like, "I don't know if I have the resources to get there." And the DM's like, "No, you got it." And you're like, "You sure? I don't know if I'm going to survive that." And you're like, "No, I have a really cool story. You're going to get up there." Bro,
And then you
I
march
only have rope.
You march up the mountain and starve. I'm like, you fucking idiots!
My
I can't believe you believed me.
my issue with Fate is while playing it, just asking the question, what is the difference between my longsword and the other person's laser pistol?
+2.
+2.
Yep.
So nothing feels real.
No. That's the
That's the
problem.
thing is Fate's not grounded into the platonic forms of numerics that it's required for our kind of hungry minds in role playing games.
Yes, our I agree. Wow.
Numbers aren't enough.
Eloquent, yeah. But what I will say Fate is good at doing is if you are trying to run like a hard sci-fi game, like a really high conceptual game, and you just to make systems for that setting would take like 1,200 pages. Would take like
Shadowrun.
thousands of pages. Well, no, I think even like more than that. Like I think like hard sci-fi with as in like they're, all right, here's this sci-fi novel. We're going to talk about how space travel works for half an hour, for 30 pages.
Yeah.
And it's like to meaningfully simulate that, you really would just end up needing a bunch of +2, -2 dials because otherwise you're like, all right, well, time to write my thesis on how this game works.
Yeah, I mean, because the idea of science is that because it's explainable, that's the fun of it.
Right.
And fantasy is like, dude, it's magic. Shut up.
And that's both Shadowrun does the magic thing. Cyberpunk, which is based on, does the cause it's cool loser thing, and so both of them get around the hard science. So if you really wanted to run like something really high concept, you would need a proportionately vague system, unless you want to sit down and write a big ass system.
Like you've got a scene where the combat is figuring out a math equation.
Right.
And you've got all the bonuses, but the DM's hiding certain little bonuses that are thrown off to the side, so you have to use the absence to try and figure out what other factors could be. Yeah, you're like, oh, we didn't think of the fucking gravitational shift.
What do I know about this universe and physics that I could reveal certain aspects to get better? But yeah, that's like the only meaningful way you could run a game like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool, but I don't know where to take that.
Well, it would be like pitch in that way. If you have something that's that high concept.
I think that's a joke part of the system, not a full system.
No, pitch always had an end goal loop style that I was just never able to get to.
We didn't know what you
because I thought I had to do. I thought
we had no fucking idea.
I got stuck in world building, and I'm like, jeez, I don't think people need shirts. What does that mean?
We famously,
I don't think people need shirts.
We famously started with a smoke machine, which someone said, "Please don't." And he did it, and it barely worked. And then they were like, you got to turn that off. That's how pitch started. He was like, see you miss, and it's all these formed things. And he's like, shh. Hey, man, I can't. I have asthma. You got to turn that off.
Was I fucking, yeah.
That was years before.
Was that years before?
Yeah.
How many times have you tried to start pitch? I thought I was there for
3
the
or
first
4
time.
times.
Well, like mainly twice.
I have an idea now. I just don't know what system can really do it. Because the idea, that game where everyone plays inside of the one dude's head.
Everyone is John.
Everyone's John. It'd be a reverse. Everyone's John in a sense that everyone is individual characters, but you can only sense things collectively together.
I like that.
Sensing things. I like
that. What'd you say?
Maybe you just want to write a book.
Thanks.
When it's that high concept.
The idea was that pitch is so overwhelming that to traverse into it, the idea. I thought I'd just do a whole bunch of world building, and then I realized through a whole bunch of writing and stuff that the best way to do world building is to just have people play things that they know are real, and then have them go in and experience things. That's how you write stories. It's hard to write a character that lives in an alien world that you've got 5 limbs and everyone uses florks. If you don't know what the fuck that means,
right?
You got to have a human that crash lands on it and it's like, oh, what are florks?
Right.
Yeah, grounded. Yeah.
So I was going to have like a specialized. I thought Delta Green almost could do it because of how the corruption system kind of worked. Mm-hmm. Having specialized people that are sent in with protective barriers where you limit yourself to exactly one sensory capability, because taking in everything at once is lethal. It's fully lethal and deadly.
You know what this sounds like you should do? This sounds like you should write like a day-long LARP.
Yeah.
Because I know that Luke Crane did that. It's called Inheritance, and it's a 13-player LARP about like Vikings and somebody, like the king died and everyone's suspicious or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think like you could literally do that. Like you write like it's a boxed experience where it's like, all right, we've got, we can only sense things together, but you're limited to one sense for this, and then you're like guiding people through. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think it needs to be you shave it down to its core cool shit, and then make that like a bam.
Yeah, you probably would have to simplify it. It probably wouldn't be as high concept in play as much because, like, I mean, having only sense of smell in a meta, you couldn't. You would always, the person playing it would never not have that.
Well, it's like that's why it's called role playing. It's called pretending that you don't have those things. It's why this is a thing you do with like a dozen people, and it's like a cool guided experience, and then it's done.
I guess like you were saying, you'd have to be the outsider would come in, then they don't have that sense.
Like I think that's the way. I don't think you'd have to make it less high concept. I think the more high concept something is, the shorter it has to be. Mm-hmm. Just like with Fate, like
at least
the more
to even
high
start grounding it and messing around with it.
Right.
Yeah.
It either has to be really high concept, and either has to be work through something simple, or it has to be shorter.
Yeah, the short's probably the issue.
I would say it's easiest.
Well, because
that's probably what I'm thinking.
One of the initial things that came up with attaching it to gameplay was going, what's one of the most like just undervalued? I mean, it's not undervalued. Descriptions. I love descriptions. We talked earlier about older D&D and how players, you really didn't know what's going on unless it's described to you. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't really know how hurt you are. You know that you're hurt. You don't know really how deep that hole is. You can just kind of see with your torchlight. But you can't control that light all the time because there might be a fucking wind in the way.
To catch you up to speed, I was talking about how in original D&D, a lot of what happened is you didn't like make any of the rolls. You didn't like know how much HP or XP you had. You controlled maybe your inventory, and like that's it. Everything else was described. So when I hit you, I don't say how much damage you take. I'm like, the orc's sword went deep, and that one really hurt. It feels different this time, and shit like that.
Really?
It's like, what's your condition? And it's like, that you're fine, but that wound, it's been bleeding. It hasn't stopped. Like shit like that.
I like that.
I'm so excited to do.
I didn't realize it was hidden.
So
even
it's Gary Gygax famously, he would sit at his writing desk faced away from the players and open all of his cabinets so that he was completely obscured. So he would just be a formless voice narrating to the players who were sitting at the kitchen table in the other room, in like the next room. And it's like literally like this, like, that's why the mapping is so harrowing, because it's like, oh my God, like I could go into a whole tangent on this.
Yeah.
And I will.
But you have to be so specific.
I will.
Because that's part of the game. You have to be specific.
Well, yes, but what I was going to say is it's very interesting. Because it's called immersive play, and I think the key to immersive play, ironically, is a lack of information. Yep. The less they have, the more immersive it is, because your brain is going to be grasping at anything and making up things that maybe aren't even there.
And largely how pitch was going to feed back is being amorphous, because I'm not really interested. Right. I'm interested in maybe creating some spaces, creating some physical elements to build things off of. But I'd be much more interested in, the idea was having each character be specialized, either through training or through genetic mutation or science, or whatever, really sci-fi it up, to be sent in to be fine-tuned in how to navigate and explore their surroundings and understand them through limited senses. And so each party, you're kind of picking a sense and loading out, but you cannot pick all of them because that will kill everyone. You always have to leave something behind. There's always some information you can't get.
It's like a horrifying guided meditation. Yeah. It's like a guided meditation through Area X from Annihilation.
Yeah. Because I'd like to be like, okay, who's going first? Have an initiative system of some kind. The person with touch goes first. And I just start...
I
can only describe things through touch until someone else wants to use their turn. And suddenly... players start coming up with ideas about what it could be, and those ideas might be way better than what I want. But if I'm using pitch, a world that feeds off of ideas and interpretation of visual stimuli, then partly what I'm looking for is a mechanism, and that's where the corruption, I really like the idea of that, of feeding of when does the boundary between what's actually there and what you see being there makes it real. Because pitch is truly largely empty. But it's a void that's just waiting to breathe.
I feel like that, here's what I think. I think that's fucking great. I think that part about pitch. Okay, so we never found out the secrets of pitch because we never got far enough.
Yeah.
And you just said what the secret of pitch is. Never tell players that. Because the thing is they're going to be going into this thing and they're going to be using their senses. The idea that perceiving something wrong can kill you. The idea that you have to ration the information you are receiving because you might get too much of the wrong thing in the wrong combination. And what would be even scarier is, yes, you know what the lore is, you know that you're making things in reaction, whatever, but to them, as far as they know, they are perceiving things that are concrete, that have been there, and that will always be there. So to them, there is a horror in the fact that it's like, I know, that's like bone chilling. I know there is a lot of shit around me, but I don't know how to perceive it. And then the question is, what if there's some sort of thing that's trying to kill you?
Yeah.
Can you perceive it fast enough? You know, leaving traces that
What
maybe something.
What if you start
having
to rescue people that were sent before, and you're bringing them back? Now they're part of your sensory experience. They've experienced things alone for a long while.
Oh God!
No, I've done a lot of
Casey,
thinking in this space.
Have you read the Area X trilogy?
No.
You have to read Jeff.
Oh yeah,
Vandermeer's.
you were reading that recently.
I've read it all. You have to read Jeff Vandermeer's Area X trilogy. I think that will give you a lot of grist for that exact idea. I love that, and I think that'd work as like a one-day thing or a light thing.
Yeah.
An experience.
Yeah, because as a narrative, let's keep doing the story. Yeah, maybe like it could take several sessions, but yeah, it's not like you're coming back and I'm back to my character. It's like, yeah, this is an experience in totality that might take several sessions.
Yeah.
I like pitching it as an experience too.
Yeah,
like because I think that's why pitch fails as a game, because it's not a game in that sense.
Yeah.
It's because it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's
you're
more
trying to
than
convey an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't approach it like a game.
it needs
in
to
the
be
same way.
approach. You need to approach an end, and then you can get from everything between that. And then you can have different experiences every experience,
Yeah.
but there needs to be an end.
Yeah.
Like totally figured out.
That's interesting. I love I love it.
Ooh.
I love it.
Ooh,
I mean,
love
I'm literally playing in like the micro spaces of RPGs. Pitch before, how we played Pitch was just the character creation process. I was like, what if character
That was at your
creation?
place.
What if character creation started with you
Yeah.
knowing nothing about the game and you just start playing,
Yeah.
and we're just making your character as we go along? And what happens if I do that with 5 people at once?
Yeah.
And I was like, I got a lot of answers, but then I was like, I don't know how to convey what's next.
It's a fantastic experiment, and I think one that's worth doing multiple times until you find some sort of like through line.
okay.
You know, I do love that. Making a character for a game that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Is really interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because there's that there is that horror and wonder and awe that is just right
I mean,
there.
it does tie to like what you're saying is the DM has the understanding of what your character is, not you. So if you get hit, if anything else happens, you're only using what you can think about.
Like, it's the type of game where you're given a gun, but
What does that mean?
it's like you're playing a video game. It's like, oh, I've got a gun, and you start shooting things. You're like, this doesn't work at anything.
Right.
You're playing a point
what does
and
this
click, you get a
mean?
gun, you're like, what am I? How am I supposed to freaking use
What
this?
does this mean? But I can already think of like 5 ways that gun could be useful in this sort of game.
You throw it, you pick it up, you eat it, you look at it, you smell it,
Shoot your
you
dick
taste
off.
it.
You taste it. You shoot your dick off.
Yeah.
I feel like Casey would be like, we'd be like playing this game. And you're like, oh yeah, I only have touch, and you like very specific, feeling of hands. And he goes, all right, put some Play-Doh on, and you get blindfolded, and you're like, what the fuck?
He just
the
it's just
hell
his
is this?
penis. He just has his dick out in this
Yeah,
guy's
and
hands.
it's like this is something hard. Is there a dildo in here? This is very soft dildo. Keep going.
Keep going.
you go.
It seems to be changing. Are you? Is there something happening?
Oh, there's
You're so close.
there's something happening. You're
There's
so
something
close.
happening.
You're so close to understanding this. Keep going. I can't hear anything. It's so mushy.
No, it's getting soft again.
Don't stop! Don't stop! Yeah. Where do you want it? What? The understanding. Where do you want the
The
understanding?
understanding.
Your hands are so cold. I can hear some. Is it a heartbeat?
Yeah.
And then you do smelling salts for if you smell. like, oh, don't smell that. And,
Jesus! This whole thing just turns into you pranking people based on their scents.
Yeah.
you do the light that blinds people. I saw that video.
Yeah, the fucking flesh simulator video. Yeah.
So you got sight? Be careful.
But like I was also gonna have you wouldn't just be limited to your one sense because a character has to be more than just you've got a character sheet. Specialized training. The idea would be that you'd have abilities where like once every scene or something, not every scene, but every once in a while you could like use
Counter powers.
no
Bring it to forth.
synesthetic responses where you can hack your sense into it. So I can start describing a different block, but I have to do it in your way.
You can tell the taste guy what you hear, but you have to describe it in terms of taste.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah, it's like the ideas
There's
of
so much there.
People that are really good with numbers, they see in color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a way.
That's cool. I
My
really
brown is your orange.
I really do think the thing about experience too, because like so when you read a lot of the original D&D stuff and you read the rules as this is for the referee to make a world. This isn't like these rules aren't for the players. These rules are for you. They're supposed to be a thing that helps you generate, do procedures, like do all these things. It really lends itself to something entirely like it lends itself to the experiential. Like it is no longer as much a game as it is an experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think when you have something mechanized like OD&D is, of course, it has like long-term and high-level play mechanisms, so you can keep this experience going for a very long time. You can get other people jumping in it and jumping out of it and all that. But I think mainly what you need, if you were going to do the experience, is you do need rules for you. Maybe there are things you can even sell to people who are interested. You give them the experience, and it's like, all right, if you're interested in doing it or doing it in your own way, here are the rules or whatever. But, it's very clear that it's like, the players aren't necessarily aware of rules, but you need them for you.
Consistency.
So that you
can,
you can be consistent, you can modulate things, you can pace things out right. Because I can't have it to where like, there's all these like D6 checks and all this stuff, and immediately I've experienced this when running Lamentations of the Flame Princess. If you have a player roll the search check and they see that they failed the search check, and I'm like, there's no secret door there. Like, of course there's no secret door there. Immediately, the illusion's gone. But if, they're like, yeah, we're searching like every 10 feet or whatever, and we're feeling along the walls, and then they somehow make that one roll. I'm like, oh, wait, your hand.
Yeah.
It grabbed onto a loose, like, chinking in the plaster. Like, that you wouldn't have noticed before. Now, all of a sudden, that's fucking magical.
That's really what I miss. I don't know if I've gotten in a D&D game is playing a true, just description-focused rogue, like, gauntlet challenge.
We can do it. I would like to do that on Thursday when I have to... Well, so other days. I'll do other days, too. Look, I would love to do that. I want to get you in on that.
I think it'd be schedule fun. Different days.
Cool.
Yeah, we can always
We've always talked about that.
And we can always do one-offs and stuff, too. It doesn't necessarily have to be like... That's what I'm doing with my LOTFP group, too, is it's like we want to play more often. So we're just picking days. It's like, everyone free? Cool. And then we just rock it.
That's how you do it. That's how we do grown-ups.
So, yeah, that's how grown-ups
just
do
gotta
it.
schedule
it. I built descriptive rogue traps and, like, locks and everything, but in D&D, so it didn't work. Just people's assumptions.
Yeah.
Like making it so.
Yeah.
So here's a locked door where it's filled with spikes. You can see magic glowing from it. The lock is actually unlocked because I'm guessing that the rogue's probably going to try and unlock it first. So when he tries to unlock it, he really locks it the first time because it's not the real locking mechanism. The real locking mechanism is hidden behind one of the hinges that has a pop out lever to it.
That's the reason why there's no thieves in original D&D.
Yeah.
Is because you should never have I roll to unlock. It should be like, okay, I know there's a lock here. This lock looks strange. It looks like at a glance it would fit a key, but as you get closer, you can't imagine a key that would fit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, then maybe the mechanism is elsewhere. And then you start, you're like, okay, I start feeling along the outside of the door, and it's like, bam, there's a button on one of the hinges. The lock opens. You know, like, it's not, I roll my open lock.
Yeah.
Oh, I failed, so I can't try again. Okay.
You break your tool. I got more. I bought 5 of them. I had 50 gold pieces.
Yeah. I like the idea of especially a game because I've obviously always had this philosophy, which is like, okay, there's a door, it's locked. And then they look down and the character's like, no. Look up. We're talking. You're looking at me. Look at my eyes. What do you do? And they look down like, no. What do you do? Stop looking at your character sheet. What do you do? There's a lock. Well, I gotta, no. I'm telling you.
And that's, there's a saying in like OSR circles that like when you looking at your character sheet's a fail state, especially because a lot of it's combat rules. So what if you completely remove the ability to look at your sheet? The stuff that's on your sheet, you can look at it, but it's stuff like inventory. It's stuff that is still diegetic. It's stuff that it's like, well, I'm not looking at my stats. I'm looking down at my packs and what I have on my person that I can use in this situation. You know, that's way more interesting.
Different aesthetic.
It's a much different aesthetic. Yeah. Here, speaking of like rogue and trickery and stuff, here's a cool thing for you. So, you have to map. Like there is a specific. I'm trying to develop this. I'm practicing it on my own time. It's really lame, but basically, I need to give mapping instructions in a very specific way because sometimes I can't give them again, and a lot of times I can't correct the mapper.
Yeah.
So when I am describing stuff and the mapper is going, here's the thing that can happen. You can have a sloping hallway that you can't actually feel it. Dwarves can. You can't actually tell that it's sloping unless you're rolling ball bearings down it for some reason, and it brings you to a lower level of the dungeon, a higher level than you're able to take. You get a random encounter. Random encounters can be from the upper floor. It just so happens you get a random encounter that makes sense for the floor you think you're on. So then you keep going, and then eventually I'm like, okay, the hallway goes forward 10 feet, and the mapper's like, well, wait a second. That's not possible. There's supposed to be a room here. And I'm like, that's what happens. So then it's like, well, wait a second. Are we below the room? Where did we go down a level? Are we above? Is there actually just a wall here? Did the mapper fuck up? We don't know. Yeah. And then that is when the panic starts.
Yeah.
That's when
hard,
how many torches do I have left starts.
That's coming from the knowledge that they've done enough map making to have that happen and not immediately. They won't immediately go, nah, we messed up, and they move on. You want them questioning it.
Right.
Because if they just go, I messed up, then
There's even like parallelism. Like you can have a certain odd room shape, and every time that room shape appears, there is something in like the northwest corner of the room. So if the mapper's mapping right and they start noticing every time we make that shape, there's something here. Or you even like when they've mapped a floor, you have it constructed in such a way that there is very obviously a room-shaped chunk missing out of it. So then they know to go back and start looking around the perimeter for secret doors and shit like that.
Yeah. So you're trying to do Sherlock bingo. You're calling out a number, and then you want them to investigate it.
And that's why you usually have a dedicated mapper, and then everyone else is also still trying to go, well, because think of it like
it's heavy immersion through scarcity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heavy immersion through scarcity.
Which, I don't know why this came to mind. No, just for the Delta Green game you ran, it almost has an inverse
Impossible
effect.
Landscapes, yeah.
Because like when you're playing old D&D, you can only use what's on your sheet. There's not much on your sheet, so it's pretty easy to remember, so you don't need your sheet. You're just there. You're in it. Mm-hmm. Whereas Delta Green, it was like, I've got to look at my sheet constantly. But every time I'm looking at my sheet, I'm just seeing more of the world. I don't think any of these things on this sheet are mine. I think that is all just a ploy and part of the story that's got me caught.
Looking down at your sheet and realizing none of it matters is a... In any other game would be kind of a letdown, kind of a bummer. In that game is a terrifying realization.
No, because it gets to the point. It's like, oh my god, the evil person might be that name is the same as that name, and of course it is.
There's
what
kind of this. What I think is really, because I'm running it again.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting is there's kind of this. It's interesting. There's kind of this malaise that comes over the party when you reach that threshold where you realize just how truly meaningless the situation is, and you see how deeply it's rooted, not just into like the game world and your character's world, but also into our world.
Yeah.
Because real world locations start showing up more and more the further you get into the game. And then it becomes this whole, I think it's fucking fascinating. I don't know, because eventually you look at the sheet and you realize, because I kind of said this too, you can't really die.
Yeah.
And you the whole time you think you can die, and then you realize, no, I can't die. There is no death. There's only the terminus. There's only, you know what I mean? And that's like fucking, that is a type of horror that, it's very existential.
Maybe that, because I didn't get to experience it. That might be similar, because that's a very special feeling that's come from a game. But how you guys felt with when you started to see all the Vecna pieces in the painting, and you started to realize that you guys started wearing them too.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we're not the first ones.
That and the Ravenloft twist were towards the end were both heart crushing.
Yeah.
They were both fucking, oh my God. They were both heartbreaking. That's the best kind of shit right there. It's not, you often a game can make you feel like empowered or cool or scared or whatever, but to break your heart, that's hard. That's really hard. Yeah. That's really, really hard. And I feel lucky to have experienced it a couple times,
Yeah.
Because we're all just so fucking talented. We're all just so good, and this is literally, at least this is all I do anymore. Shit.
My heart breaks every time Matt starts a character, which is almost every character, with a goal that he had at the very beginning, and then goes through a whole campaign, and then goes right back to it.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
That's what
to me, it's not like your character in Ravenloft.
Your farmer, your recent Triton. Your whole thing's like, I'm a real estate guy, and I just need to get everyone to live here. And then we slayed the Ice Queen. You're like, yep, now I'm doing exactly what I said. Like, there's no arc of growth.
Oh, that's true.
No matter what you experience, it does not change the trajectory of what you were going to do the whole time.
I do kind of.
I'm headstrong.
It's good.
Headstrong is what
I know exactly what I want from the beginning.
It's good.
I kind of like that in a storytelling sense, though, because it's kind of refreshing to have a character that is unchanged by something cataclysmic. It's like, I just want to return to what I was doing. Like, it's literally just, I'm a simple guy. I know what I want, and I want to go get it back, and no amount of, like, death or power or, like, wealth is going to change who I am.
Yeah.
I think there's something beautiful about that. It's also very funny,
is.
Especially when you,
it's
like,
hilarious.
especially over time when you stack your characters against, like, the stakes.
Yeah.
But then it's
if you think of the implications
cool.
of Ravenloft, he's a farmer that saw an entire change in how warfare was done that multiplied the casualties of loss.
Yeah.
Went behind enemy lines, saw the fucking just oppression of everything, then was lifted out, found out that the entire world is basically pockets that are built for prisons for absolutely horrible beings that are in control of every aspect of your life.
Yep.
And that the only ones that could do anything are amorphous powers that can't feel or care one bit about your plight. You're a rat in the prison.
Yeah.
They don't care how you got there or what's going to happen to you. The prisoners can even try to eat you if they need to survive. As long as they're staying alive, that's all that matters.
And I feel,
and then you experience all that, see it shatter, and then go, well, I'll go get my farm back.
Well, isn't that just the epitome of, like, stoic thought, though?
It's perfect.
Of literally being like,
Odysseus, yeah.
Yeah, all this shit was horrible. All this is the truth and everything. But so I can't control anything. So at the end of the day, I'm just gonna keep farming.
I'm just Bilbo.
Just
Odysseus,
Bilbo. Yeah.
I'm just the ancient warrior.
Yeah.
Odysseus is trying to get
stop
out of
jerking yourself off now. But
an ancient warrior.
I'm an ancient war. I'm Odysseus.
I mean, it just if you have other people are like the main plot, then I'm just the straight man of the group. You gotta have a straight man.
I was gonna something that's been happening a lot.
Last night you were not the straight man. you were. I was breaking.
Careful how that sounds. Last night you were no straight man.
Listen, your character had a certain accent, and then you just he showed up last night, and it was wild. I did not know what to expect.
Dude, I just do instigating as I always do.
I wanted to oh fuck.
Lost your train of thought.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Choo choo, chugga 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 chugga.
The train is careening.
Fucking, it's careening. Did we upload that episode?
I think so.
I don't know.
I have it.
Probably.
Yes, you did. I listened to it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, because
it was on the
careening.
Roadcaster, and I was like, wait a second, I couldn't. Yeah, okay. If you listen to it, then I'm good.
It's not a good one.
Oh, you were mentioning straight guys. So, so I realized I used to really, and it bothered me a lot, where I'm like running a game and I'm like, man, none of my characters seem, particularly ambitious or unique or like, really like loud personality wise. Like I'd have my moments, but a lot of times I'm just kind of like, especially now that I do a lot more like third person narration, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like whatever. And I used to worry about that a lot until this current campaign. I never considered this, but it makes perfect sense. The NPCs, no matter who they are the straight men. You know why? Because players are fucking insane.
Yeah.
They're homicidal. They get all wrapped up in these ideas in their head that make no fucking sense. What I like to think now is I've had some pretty crazy characters that I didn't end up playing particularly crazily because the players out-crazied them. And that's how Trackmarks was. I keep having like...
Yeah.
Because the thing is like I would have these characters and it's like the Blackguard shouldn't just be able to go up, talk to these people, trick them into stuff, all this stuff. And then I realized it's fine because even though the city hates Blackguard, everyone else in the city is like sane. The Blackguard are fucking crazy.
And then you come up with NPCs with great lore, and it's like, yeah, they're a dragon, and they've got these abilities, and they can summon this, and it doesn't compare to the level 1 guy that's like, I spent all of my inventory slots on grenades, and they're strapped to my body.
Yeah.
What does that mean mechanically?
Yeah, exactly. So I could have the craziest, most awful NPC ever, and both me and the NPC are going, what the fuck? And I have fully, and I think what helps is Kelvin Green, a writer for LOTFP. It's very tongue in cheek, but it's very funny. Goes on diatribes against like how homicidal and insane players are, like how he wants them to stay away from him when he's not running a game because he's scared of what they might do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we as a group and me personally have embraced that, and it's truly gotten funny because even just picture normal D&D, like. Or even let's go back, to old school D&D.
Oh shit!
These motherfuckers are plunging into dungeons because they're too sociopathic to get a job.
They're just bored.
They're bored. They're insane. They're like, they come out like, I have all these magic items. I'm gonna rule over the village. Now everyone's like, okay, just please don't kill me.
Please don't kill me. I want to go back to work. Yeah.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
Oh my god! You looked at me.
That's why I did the reverse in the painting campaign because the players are the straight men. I'm just coming up with the craziest shit. And all that they could do is be like, okay, can I... Fuck.
You know what it was?
What?
It was immersion. Immersion is when the players have to play the straight man because they don't have enough info.
Yeah.
Like, you were literally like, you were making something so zany, they didn't even really get like a foothold. So you have to put
Until
them...
they did, then it got scary. Then it became D&D again.
You have to keep the players on their back foot for as long as possible, with the understanding that eventually they will fucking pull their foot forward and take that big step forward.
They'll find somewhere.
And then that's really when the campaign's rolling.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean? They'll place them somewhere,
Yeah, they'll do it, but you gotta keep them on their toes. You gotta keep them off guard. You do. I think it's important for the DM to be adversarial. That doesn't mean you have to be an asshole to your players. That doesn't mean you should be trying to kill the characters. But you should be trying to generate an amount of discomfort that they have to overcome.
Uncomfortable discomfort, yeah. There needs to be some kind of tension.
Exactly, yes. If there's no tension, then then it doesn't fucking matter.
Then just play any power fantasy with cheats on.
Yeah. Yeah, just go. Yeah, go. GTA 5 infinite ammo. Fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so much easier to establish those stakes when you don't even give them basic information. I want to, and I do plan on running OD&D as like an open table, like taking the same setting, tutoring around different groups. They're all changing the setting in their own ways. Like if you die in the dungeon with your magic items, guess what? Your body's in there with your magic items. Hope you get them back.
Yeah.
But I want to get some 5e players and introduce them to hit points. You don't know what those are.
You don't.
What do you mean hit points? No, you have your sword, and there's the darkness.
I like that.
Do you step in?
Yeah.
Get
people
One of the most fun and memorable times I'll always have is just playing a 1 hit point fighting man that had to cover himself in wax and fucking swamp yogurt to survive a nuke.
I was gone that day, but I heard about it a lot afterwards.
Yeah. We were all sitting on the floor in my dorm room for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how... That's the other thing I've always loved about OSR games is even when they have all the information, it's like, yeah, you're a fighter with 1 hit point. They immediately go, how can I get as much gold as possible without getting into combat? And then they immediately become depraved, freaks.
Yeah.
They immediately...
Pardon?
Pardon?
It wasn't that. I haven't touched that in a bit.
Bit of bleach.
It's frozen.
I kind of want to hit some.
Oh. Kitten's feeling frisky.
Feeling frisky.
Pulls into the sensation.
It's not drugs. Well, it's nicotine, right?
Yeah.
Nicotine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh?
Is that
the black speech is
the
calling
black
to
speech, yeah.
What is that Greek yogurt? The flavor?
Greek yogurt flavored.
This is Greek bar.
Frozen white grape.
Tastes like sin.
Oh, it's like a hookah.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. I could really get into that.
Oh yeah, no, they're great.
I love hookah. I miss hookah. I never. Yeah, I like that. Let's get addicted to nicotine.
Casey's left it once. I was playing a game and I didn't realize it had nicotine. And I was like, I'm really.
Yeah, he messaged me and he's like, "Hey,
really
you left your vape here, I think, or your little thing." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Does it got something in it?" I'm like, "What do you mean? It's got nicotine." He's like, "Oh."
My teeth are vibrating.
I've been playing games real hard.
No, I stopped playing games and read a book way faster than I was like, damn, I'm really awake.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember when I was a freshman in college, I got a hookah pen and I was so fucking terrified that someone would find it or something. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Because now I'm 30 and I'm I could just go get one. It's not a big fucking deal. Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah. That's why they have 6 of them. That's why they have freaking burnt cornbread as a flavor. They have
burnt cornbread.
They got
I don't condone anything, Ryan.
They got Laffy Taffy.
Anything? What does fucking Ryan smoke?
He smokes fucking cornbread pudding.
Cornbread.
I thought you were joking.
Pumpkin pie frosting. He always has pastry flavors.
This is weird.
And I'm I get it. It tastes good, but I don't want this in my mouth all day.
Ryan, what the fuck?
They both have a collection.
There was a guy. Oh,
memory.
He played. It was a core member. He played D&D and stuff. If I remember correctly, now he was
core memory.
It was
That he says a core memory.
Corn memory.
Oh, cool.
no. So he in retrospect, he's a fucking deadbeat. I had to pick him up and stuff to bring him RPG club or whatever, and we weren't together for that long. But he was vaping in my car, and it smelled like fucking pancakes. And I'm like, "Is that pancake vape?" He's like, "Yeah, it's like pancake vape." And I'm like, I mean, I didn't mind it in my car because it didn't smell good, but I'm like, really? You're gonna breathe that? I'm like, really?
Yeah,
it's like you're fucking breathing maple syrup. Then he's like, "No, I'm fine." And then you can hear the alveoli in his lungs open. You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh Lord!" I'm like, that can't be good.
It's not.
Damn, that's amazing. I'll have to get
It's
one of those.
funny.
No, you don't. No, stay away.
It's funny because now
You don't want any of this.
Because beforehand you just have to
want
buy
this.
your reusable one, and almost everyone had the really long-lasting reusable one, and now there's all disposable.
Yep.
You don't want
Which
any of this
scares me
stuff,
too.
do we?
Yeah.
Who don't want any of I can't wait to see the studies about what vaping does to people in 10 years. I mean, they're already starting to come out.
There's
better
a
than
UK one.
It's
yeah.
better than smoking, but it's still getting your lungs.
You shouldn't do
It's
it.
still not good, but it's better than smoking.
I'll take better than smoking.
I think the studies so far are it's better, but that's not saying much when it's still bad.
Yeah.
Really, the thing is that it's better, but it's hard to measure because of frequency.
There's a lot.
That makes
It's not
sense.
Like when
standard.
someone smokes a cigarette, you smoke a cigarette for about 5 minutes or so, and you don't have one for maybe 20, 40 minutes, unless you smoke. You might smoke heavily. It depends on
Right.
your habits.
Well, yeah, because you're not allowed to smoke in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Now you can kind of vape where you
Yeah,
want.
vape's kind of a workaround, yeah.
It's very easy, and it's not as like a cigarette. You know how much nicotine you've had because you know how many cigarettes you've gone through.
You pack.
You don't know how
Oh.
many puffs you've had
That's true.
until it just dies. You don't think about it. You just go and get a new
More
one.
frequency.
I see. Yeah, that's kind of an issue, ain't it? Because it's even the same. Because I've heard too. It's like you hear a lot of people say like, well, weed is better than like smoking, and I'm like, I'm sure it is because they put like rat poison in cigarettes. Still probably not that great, but I imagine the ritual of actually having to like, I know there's weed carts and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the actual act of like I gotta like pack a pipe or something is gonna be way like quick. It's gonna be way longer than this thing.
I mean, yeah, it is funny the pictures of the 80s and 60s and 70s of like the lone hermit in front of the really old what Macintosh or whatever, even what is that? Whatever, even older than that, their first computers and just ashtrays everywhere.
Yeah.
And this guy like started the computer, like he was one of like the pioneers.
Yeah.
He's just a guy naked, only underpants. There's beer everywhere, and there's just tons of ashtrays filled.
And that man was Gary Gygax.
And that's what it was. And now it's just you have vapes trash.
I mean, Echo smoked and for like the last 8 years of his life when the doctor's like, you can't anymore. And
He's
he's
doing
like,
cigars, right?
Yeah, he do cigars.
He loves cigars.
And then what he did is he just kept the cigar in his mouth,
Mouthfeel.
unlit, and he's like, I just convinced myself I'm getting nicotine somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Norm Macdonald said the same thing. He just likes the mouthfeel. He would
Yeah.
joke about that.
it's like say like alcoholism. Like you got to trick yourself. You got to replace it with something, or you gotta
You got to trick yourself a lot. Just that's why immersive gameplay. It's just like real life. We're immersed. We don't know what the fuck's going on. No, we don't know the rules.
We are fucking immersed. I'm fucking immersed. Having to pay for the first time in however many years, first month's rent and a security deposit. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm immersed, motherfucker. Holy
yeah.
shit. God damn.
Now you can run a game.
Yeah. Now I'm immersed.
Yeah, now run it. Get that,
Holy
get that feel.
fuck.
Get that mouth feel.
Get that. Yeah. I just keep Monopoly money equal to the money I spent in my mouth at all times.
I mean, there's always a hookah. I don't know. There's hookah
Yeah.
bars. There's people. I knew some people that had hookahs.
I like hookah a lot.
It's just because a lot of room.
I'll probably end up getting one eventually. I don't want to spend the money on that right now. But that's the other thing, right? Is it's better than I feel better than that because you still got to get the cold. You
No,
still
so
gotta,
this is the
pack
thing. Attaching ritual to anything makes it typically better because just a ritual is a practice of how you engage with something. So by doing that, you're naturally creating a system of moderation.
Yeah.
You're creating intentionality.
I think
Every
I
puff is a choice, not a thing that you just do.
might have mentioned at one point, but there's a guy named Pete Holmes, is a comedian. He says when he writes, he's never smoked, but he has nicotine patches, and he got a hold of.
Oh,
And
so yeah,
when
addict yourself to writing. Yeah.
So he only uses it when he writes. That's how he gets himself into getting.
That's like
himself
some
to write.
biohacking shit. I love
Yeah,
that.
which because I think you can't get patches unless you get a doctor's approval.
Oh, you can buy them now over the counter. Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was saying almost that people maybe be saying the opposite, but yeah, he's like only when I'm writing. So as soon as I want to start my writing session, you put that on, and people are like, "Well, it's like yeah, it's just nicotine. It's not because I think it does contain nicotine or something, or it doesn't.
I wonder if he gets.
It's
to
just less effective because it's not through your lungs.
It's a
I
slower
wonder
burn.
if he gets to the point where he could just write without the nicotine. I imagine that's the point, is you're trying to addict yourself to the act of writing. So you trick your body into being like, I'm doing the thing gives me nicotine,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I imagine that's the
I think it's what
rationale.
he's trying
Yeah,
to
you can
do.
do that.
But I think he
We'll
says,
see if he succeeds. He's fucking,
I mean,
he has like 5 patches on his forehead.
yeah. I mean, he's a long-standing comedian, so
Yeah.
like, I think it's just like, I think he has like, he's had a talk show for a long time, so I don't know how much he actually writes. He sounded like he was like trying to write like a movie. And
Right.
so it was a dedicated thing, maybe not every day, that he was trying to do to get like super into it.
Stephen King did that with mouthwash. I mean, I'm sure that's
Did a lot of drugs for Stephen King.
Yeah.
I feel like Stephen King doesn't even need it.
Stephen King Like, if you've seen like the newspaper ad for, there's an old newspaper ad that was local to Stephen King, and it's like local author, upcoming author, and they had a picture of him. He looks fucking more unhinged and scarier, but just like Charles Manson.
Oh my god!
Like his hair's gone, like his teeth, his eyes are all sunken. He's just like, he looks scary. You're like,
local writer. Yeah, I can tell.
Local horror writer, and you're like, I gotta read what the fuck he wrote because
that's why
he looks so terrifying.
That's why he did all that drug abuse while he was doing writing, which is why he's in the interview with George R. R. Martin. He's like, yeah, just write, idiot.
Yes, I see that interview all the time.
I love that.
Do you ever feel like you're just scared to write?
No.
And then he's like, what else do you want to say? No, I don't. I just write. He's like, I read and write a lot. Like Stephen King reads a lot, and he writes a lot, but he also reads a lot. He keeps like the brain going.
It just does not stop. Is this it?
The picture.
Oh. Well, no,
wow, he looks
better in that one. No, this is
it
looks like a mugshot almost.
Looks like a mugshot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and more insane.
From around this time, probably.
Yeah. It's got to be earlier.
Because he did have the hair and the beard.
He's this insane lore. Like the whole idea is that he wrote so much he had another alias so he can publish more.
Richard Bachman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What'd you type?
I just typed local writer Stephen King.
Oh no! Right, like early Stephen King photo.
What about Stephen King on drugs?
You did no pictures.
You're just gonna get tons of AI images. Of
I
Stephen
immediately
King
get fucking
yeah.
Hey, fucking here's Johnny.
Yeah. You're probably just gonna get every photo.
I'm gonna have to find it myself. Fine.
We can do that later.
Let's see. Well,
that's probably why Stephen King is like so thin, especially when compared to like George R. R. Martin too. Is also because of the drugs. I guess what I'm saying is George R. R. Martin should start doing drugs.
Well,
so he can fucking finish Winds of Winter.
George R. R. Martin was a TV writer, so he wrote in front of the TV all the time. So he got real big.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna accept that as true.
Sure. Yeah, that's logic.
Yeah,
it's enough for me to believe.
Because he was watching it in widescreen.
Is that why he got so big? He was watching it in widescreen.
I mean, Louis C.K. wrote a lot of early stuff too, sitcom stuff.
He did, yeah.
It's weird to see some like old shows and you see his name. George R. R. Martin, yeah.
Yeah, that is strange. Yeah, I can already feel. I definitely. I wouldn't want to keep doing that.
No,
I took that little bit and it was like I feel it settling in my lungs.
Mm-hmm. You talking about the thing again?
Yeah, I took a little.
Yeah, I forgot. I think I was playing a game I wanted to finish.
Dude, this is him. This is it.
You were breathing.
This is it.
What?
This is
no fucking way.
I've seen that picture. Yeah, I forgot that was Stephen King.
Jesus.
You got a good picture.
He looks like a fucking caveman from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Good picture.
Show that to Ben.
Oh god.
Oh. Okay, it's empty. It's empty. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think I have seen that floating around.
That's Stephen King when he was on drugs, dude. That's terrifying.
I'm totally sober.
Yeah, I'm sober.
A former columnist for the Maine campus and UMO graduate made his debut on the big money literary scene the campus learned last week.
He's
to early, yeah, like ultra, like no name at the time.
Yeah,
completely no name at the time.
Oh, this is from him selling Carrie.
That makes sense. He wrote that on drugs. He says he doesn't remember writing Carrie.
Hilarious.
He says you don't remember anything about Carrie.
When was Carrie? Like his first 5 or 10 books?
It was his first 5.
He sold it for $2,500.
Well, what would he sell it for now?
Well, plus royalties. He got that. So
Stephen King.
That's really where it came in.
Oh, Carrie. I was thinking Misery. But
yeah,
Carrie.
When you bring this back to RPG, speaking of immersion, Stephen King, it's like, is this lamp evil? I don't know. Is this car evil? Who fucking knows? I feel immersed.
Maine. I'm scared of Maine. I'm
so scared of Maine.
I'm never going to go to Maine ever.
That's why paladins ruin it, because they can tell what's evil, but that feels weird. Because, yeah, the lamp could be evil, but then the paladin's like, it's not.
I'm never going to go to Maine ever.
Don't go to Maine.
I hate Maine. No, don't go in crab season. Don't go whenever. Don't go. That's insane. That's crazy.
Stephen King was funded by the HOA to bring down prices in Maine to scare people from moving there.
Oh, my God. That's fucking...
I mean, how much does the Dark Tower series take place in Maine?
All of it.
Or is it like a different dimension it takes place in?
It's a different dimension. I hate the fucking Dark Tower series so goddamn much.
Oh, people love it.
I know, and they're all wrong.
Yeah. Why does your phone not have a cover?
Yeah.
It was an awful Chinese cover that like died.
Oh, I thought you were
So
doing
I need
the
a new
Neil
cover.
deGrasse Tyson thing.
What's the Neil deGrasse Tyson?
He's got a whole thing of like, you know, if the phone has a cover, then there's an incentive that I won't care if it drops. But if it doesn't have a cover, then I know if it drops, it'll break, so I won't drop it.
Neil, that's the point of the cover.
Yeah, but he's like, if you don't have the cover, you just won't drop it because you're gonna care more.
Okay. I haven't had a cover on my phone for like almost a month now. He is right in that regard. But guess what?
Yeah!
Every time I drop
Guess what? I'm breaking it.
Guess what?
Hammer comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was waiting.
Bam! Yeah.
I was gonna ask. 3 weeks, it's okay. A month? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look. I need to get a new cover on it. I'm just trying to figure out what to do because I didn't like the original cover on it, and it failed. And then I got one of the really nice OtterBox covers, and then that cases, and that failed too. So I'm like, well, what the fuck do I put on this? I want it to be something that will actually like work, huh?
Just another one?
I guess.
How long did the other ones last?
Not that long. Like, well, one of them I would say maybe about a year each.
That's pretty good still.
Is it?
What if you just wrapped your phone in like the Lembas leaves from like Lord of the Rings with the bread?
What?
That way you wouldn't like look up stuff because you're like, oh, I gotta unravel like 3 leaves.
Fucking the
hell?
oh, like a fucking Forest Elf Galadriel music, and it's like, here for your phone, and then you just fucking.
It's like, hold on, I've got a meme to show you.
She's looking down at Sam with those fucking piercing eyes, and is like, I have a meme to show you. It's like, yes, milady Galadriel, like
Memes that were, memes that are, and memes that have not yet come to be.
and memes that have not yet come to pass.
I mean, Elle's got all the time in the world to do that. So by the time you would think it's not funny, but they're gonna keep opening that leaf, and you're like, I'm done. I don't want to see the meme anymore. No, almost there.
No, you have to watch the whole YouTube video. It gets funny, I promise.
Yeah, Elf would be like 4-hour video essay and holding it in front of you, and you're like,
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
I'm just, no, put it down.
To me, it is the equivalent of one of your YouTube shorts.
It's a very short, yeah. They're also,
That'd be a great like POV Wojak just passing you the essay video.
That is one. I've seen it.
Damn.
It's
that's
brutal.
real. You don't know about something you don't even want to care about.
I've known people that we've had to bully that tendency out of them because, like, now someone comes up to me or don't even know, like, check out these YouTube videos. I'm like, okay, like, what are you? Ooh, wow. I gotta. What time is it?
Listen, my mental box has been pruned perfectly for and curated for exactly what I want to watch. You bring in your world in here. I don't want any of it.
I don't want this. Yeah.
Wow, this random curiosity I heard about just once, I now will not care about. I just received a video of 3 hours of that thing I'm not going to watch. I do not care about that thing you just sent me.
Yeah.
3 hours? Nope.
You can show me up to a YouTube video that is up to a minute in length once per day. That is like my absolute
my
limit.
daily.
The moment you're like, oh, and also check out this one, I'm gonna be like, no.
I mean, there's like
Daily power, yeah.
There's something about like a 10-minute sketch, but it's just like, all of a sudden, the great societal thing is like you're just hanging out with a friend, all of a sudden you had a good conversation. It's been a great back and forth, and then the video, then they want to show you video. It's quiet for the next 10 minutes.
Yep.
They go shh. I'm gonna show you my phone.
Oh,
this is a great sketch.
The worst is when they're watching to see if you're watching, and then we'll like rewind or pause it.
Yeah,
Or
did get it.
Yeah,
I've been a recipient. I've done both sides. I get it.
You've
It
done
sucks.
it.
None of that still
It's never
compares
good.
to read my short story and in front of me. Nothing compares
We'll talk
to
about
that.
real life stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
I read it. What do you think? But did you understand it? Do you know what happened? Tell me
Dude,
what happened.
That was an
What?
insane moment.
you know what? You know what
Yeah.
the word like. I need to hear more about this. But what that reminds me of is another really bad thing, which is, do you play D&D? Yeah. Oh, so what happened in my last session was?
Oh my gosh, yeah, no.
So I'm playing
No.
We're running a campaign where
You gotta like
You
D&D talk has to work like the weather. You gotta talk about stuff that you gotta be like goblins are cool. I like goblins in
Yes,
D&D.
talk about the ideas. Don't talk about
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, the moment you're like, this one time, my tiefling bard, oh my god, totally had sex with a dragon. Ha!
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think DMs talk about concepts is one thing,
Yeah.
but players talking about like the last episode of something you can't watch
Yeah.
ever or care about.
Literally, that's what it is.
I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't be involved with this. So no.
I have no stake
No.
in what's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
Like even what's the even more recent one? The people talking about the Baldur's Gate 3 games.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
When they're
I mean,
just like,
that
this is
actually
what
kind
I
of,
did, and you're just like, I don't know, man.
Well, the thing is, early.
He's modding. He's doing different.
He's fine. Yeah.
The
He's
thing
got
is, when
giant-
people,
I'm trying
it
to-
kind of worked. I was fine with that because I interact with that a lot, actually.
Right.
Because Baldur's Gate, it is the same kind of experience. It's something that can be shared. You can talk about it, but
Yeah.
to what extent? Like, I have had discussions go on where it's like, Jesus Christ,
yeah.
I
could compare it to talking about Divinity Original Sin, which me and Jergs beat, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, you remember that combat? Yeah, that was cool. Hey, how'd you do that thing? Oh yeah, we did this and this. Yeah, that thing's so cool.
There's something
And
at
that's
least
about
shared.
it. Yeah.
There's something
Yeah.
shared there.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I do like that. I think you're right. Where if you're talking about the mechanics of the thing, not necessarily like actual rules mechanics, but you're talking about theory, right? Like you're
Yeah.
talking about how a game would or could or
Yeah,
has
Baldur's
worked
Gate,
or
how to
something,
play or like optimizing characters is one thing, but talking
Yeah.
about your gameplay experience with it or what you did. Hey, you saw this innkeeper? Well, I killed him, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
awesome, man. But if it was like, hey,
Cool.
if you go to this innkeeper and you do this, you could get this. That's different because then they're talking about experience you can enjoy.
oh boy, then do I got some innkeepers to tell you about?
I don't want to know.
Tell you about all the innkeepers. We already had our one innkeeper fucking story of the eye fucking ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got to do another book club. That kind of book club. We just find
that
we
kind
find
of book club. Huh?
we go to Story of an Eye and then we look at customers who bought this also bought and we read those.
Actually,
That's actually a great
I do have a
idea.
lot of stuff that is suggestions from that.
Customers also
I was
bought
showing-
Made in Abyss.
I was showing Jimmy something recently, which is I found a publishing.
Yeah.
There's like an overall publishing house, and then they have individual specific publishers tied to
Yeah.
it. And one was called Weird Punk, I think it was called.
Yes, that was.
and
a
it
cool
was like
one.
just weird, depraved stuff. It was awesome. And I was thinking about getting some books that were out of print in normal Amazon circles. And one was like about a guy who watched a movie, apparently a real movie, because I was like, oh, because someone's like, that's a boring movie. I don't know. Why would I care about a book about it? But it's someone very similar to, I think, Leaves of Grass.
Uh-huh.
Someone's going over a media over and over and over again until it affects them. And it's a story about that.
Huh.
So here is, George Bataille. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Bataille.
Story of the Eye.
Hack.
Here is You Might Also Like. So the customers who bought this item is just all a bunch of other George Bataille stuff. But
Yeah, his critiques
and
probably.
Crash by J.G. Ballard. But you might also like Gambling Gone by Lance Leibel, The Last Monument by Michael C. Grumley, and Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll.
Is that a depraved book or is
It's
that
a children's book. I don't know. Maybe he
Well, the
fucks
thing
the
is,
guy in the
if
face.
it's
in that
Amazon,
one.
it's
Yeah.
still if it's Amazon, it's still based off of your connection.
Oh.
Yeah.
It won't be.
Well, I'm
it
not
won't,
logged in.
Yeah, I'm seeing your
I'm not
reality.
logged. No,
it still
I'm
remembers,
Not logged in. No trackers. No cookies.
but I'm
none of that shit.
remembering.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
I might be raw dogging it. I think I'm raw dogging it, but
See, your device might be
hang
clean,
on.
but ours aren't, and ours know things about
and
you
you're
that
in
your
the
device
same
doesn't
room.
know.
That's true.
yeah.
Okay, hang on. Customers who bought this item also bought Crash by J.G. Ballard, Mayfly by C.J. Lead, Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright,
There you go.
Anti-Oedipus,
Yeah.
Capitalism and
Yes.
Schizophrenia.
You would have
Yeah.
to. You
Yeah.
would have
Giles
to.
Deleuze. Yep. Huh.
Yeah, I gave Casey that. I didn't read it.
The Marquis de Sade, of course.
Hell yeah.
Casey and I both have done read.
Yeah, we've read some Marquis de Sade.
out loud as a
Yeah.
play to each other a long time ago,
Yeah.
Hot.
before the internet.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was weird at the time, and it still is weird.
Yeah.
Atrocity
great.
exhibitions on here too.
I like the Maynard's Eye or whatever it said. I wanna look into whatever that is.
The what?
Had a cool cover. The eye one, the other eye one.
So many fucking eyes. Hang on, let me.
Had
Mave fly?
the Mave fly.
Let's read the
What's Mayfly
thingy.
Oh
It
no.
won. It was nominated for Bram Stoker. This Bram Stoker Award. By day, Maeve Fly works at the happiest place in the world as every child's favorite ice princess. By the neon night glow of the Sunset Strip, Maeve haunts the dive bars with a drink in one hand and a book in the other, imitating her misanthropic literary heroes. God, she sounds stupid. But when Gideon Green, her best friend's brother, moves to town, he awakens something dangerous within her, and the world she knows suddenly shifts beneath her feet. She ditches her discontented act and tries on a new persona.
Oh, it's that kind of book.
Bolder, bloodier one inspired by the pages of American Psycho. Like, literally,
What?
like she's reading American Psycho's like, I'm just going to become American Psycho guy. Yeah, this
less
doesn't
interested in
sound
that
good.
one.
We should read it anyway.
There was one I saw. I think it was I forgot the author, Gary Snipley or something. But it's about a world that everyone's immortal and like the implications of being immortal.
That sounds cool.
And everyone loses meaning in everything. How do you find meaning in when you've already lost it?
That's pretty
I
fucking
was like,
based.
ooh.
I do like that.
I was like, well, everyone's got what they want. Shouldn't you be happy? And everyone's like, no,
No,
not at all.
No, I'm not. I'm not happy.
But yeah, I'm good for a break.
Oh,
You have sponsors?
No, I ain't got any money anymore. How much time we at?
107.
So we're actually 127 because of the first episode.
Well, we have questions afterwards too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta. Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
The comedy
Stop
stop
it.
it.
Edit me out. You're just gonna edit me out.
Am I?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go through the effort.